The repair shop sat in the forgotten district of Port Meridian, where three different species tried to coexist without much success. David Chun had opened it on a whim after leaving corporate work, a small storefront where he fixed broken electronics for reasonable prices. It was quiet, peaceful, exactly what he needed after his own family had fallen apart. That's when the first toy arrived. A small alien child, Croatian, maybe 7 years old, with bioluminescent skin that flickered with anxiety, stood at his counter with a mechanical bird clutched to his chest. One of its wings hung at an odd angle, and its chirping mechanism was broken. "I don't have credits," the child said quietly, in halting standard English. "My parent says I break everything. But this was my sister's, before the accident. Can you fix it?" David should have turned him away. His business margins were thin. But he saw something in the child's eyes, the same desperate hope he'd seen in his own daughter's face years ago, before everything went wrong. "Let me see," David said. 40 minutes later, the mechanical bird sang again. Not perfectly. David had improvised with parts from his salvage bin, but it sang, and the child's skin blazed so bright David had to shield his eyes. "I can't pay you," the child whispered. "You already have," David said. Then, almost without thinking, "What's your name?" "Skur. I'm called Skur." "Well, Skur, you come back if it breaks again." "No charge." Skur left, and David thought that would be the end of it. He was wrong. The next day, 3 children arrived with a broken holopad. The day after, a Valerian kid with a damaged translation device. Then a Thelnari girl with a music box that had stopped playing. Word spread through the district the way children's rumors always do, quietly, earnestly, with complete disregard for economic logic. David found himself surrounded by broken toys and broken children. Some came from neglectful parents who'd forgotten them in transit stations. Some were refugees from war zones, clutching the few possessions that meant anything. Some were simply poor, living in apartments where credits went to food, not repair. David fixed them all. He started keeping a jar of credits at the counter, tips from his adult customers, and spent most of it on replacement parts for toys he couldn't salvage. His profit margin disappeared entirely. He should have cared. He didn't. The children started arriving earlier, staying longer. They'd sit in his shop while he worked, watching his hands move with fascination. He started teaching them, showing them how circuits worked, how gears meshed, how a broken thing could be made whole again if you understood its purpose. It was Skur who first called him Dad. The Croatian boy had arrived with his older sibling one afternoon, both of them carrying a toy that seemed beyond repair. A mechanical dragon, its body cracked, its internal mechanism shattered. "Can you fix this one?" Skur asked hopefully. David examined it, turning it over in his hands. The craftsmanship was exquisite. Whoever had made it had loved it. "This is going to take time, and parts one don't have." "We can wait," Skur said. "We can watch you work." "Is that okay, Dad?" David's hands went still. He looked at Skur's luminescent face, at the simple acceptance in those alien eyes. The child didn't even realize what he'd said. "Yeah," David said quietly. "That's okay." Over the next week, David worked on that dragon. He salvaged parts from 3 other toys, custom-built circuits, even hand-carved a replacement section of the body from reclaimed materials. The children watched, asked questions, brought him food from their homes, strange cuisines that David ate without complaint. When the mechanical dragon finally moved again, when it spread its wings and took a practice flight around the shop, the children erupted. And every single one of them was calling him Dad. A Valerian kid, a Thelnari girl, a Croatian boy, a Centauri refugee. Children from 7 different species, all suddenly calling this human mechanic Dad. David felt something shift inside him. He thought about his own daughter, the one who hadn't called him in 3 years. He thought about all the ways he'd failed. But looking at these children, these broken kids with broken toys, learning that broken things could be fixed, that someone cared enough to fix them, he understood something his own daughter might never know. He hadn't been a good father before, but maybe in this small repair shop in a forgotten district, he could learn how to be. "Come on, kids," he said, his voice thick. "Let's see what other toys need fixing." And as they worked together, surrounded by gears and circuits and the sounds of joy, David realized he'd finally found what he'd been looking for, a family that didn't require history, just presence. Love that didn't depend on perfection, just care. The toy mechanic had become a father after all, just not in the way he'd planned.